Hi everyone, welcome to my booktube channel. I'm Siwon and I love to read. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. So this is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead. These are by Holly Jackson, and it was my first introduction to Jackson's work, and I really enjoyed it. I read these all in one sitting. I absolutely flew through them. They're so quick, the plot is so tight, and the characters are so engaging. So starting with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, this book follows Pip, who is a high school student working on a capstone project, and for her capstone, she decides that she's going to reinvestigate the murder of Andy Bell by the local boy Sal Singh. At first, she's just intending to cast doubt on the investigation, but as the plot progresses, she finds more and more evidence that Sal perhaps didn't murder Andy at all. As part of her investigation, she ends up interviewing Sal's brother Ravi, and Ravi quickly becomes part of her investigation and a close friend. In the second book, Good Girl, Bad Blood, there's a memorial being held for Andy Bell, and the brother of one of her best friends goes missing at it. Pip and Ravi have a podcast called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and she uses this podcast and her audience to investigate Jamie's disappearance because the police have declared it a low-risk case. In the last book, As Good as Dead, Pip's new fame with the previous solved cases have given her a stalker, and she realizes that there may be a connection between the stalker and a local serial killer who was put away a few years ago. The last book was absolutely my favorite. It's just so gritty, and it's a little darker than the other two, and Pip herself is a little darker. In the second book, she really has this moment of realization where she thinks, oh, I can't let this case consume me because last time I let that happen and I acted unlike myself. And she starts thinking like, well, why can't that be part of who I am? And she really leans into that in the last book. And I have to say, I love Morley Gray Pip. I think that she is filled with feminine rage, and I fully support it. The second book I found to be the least exciting, although there's no lack of twists and turns. I just think it suffered a little bit from the typical lull of being the second book in a trilogy, where the first book is really exciting because you're introduced to all these characters, and the second book there's a little bit of a lull, and then the third book really pops off because it's the end. That being said, it was still 5 stars for me. All of these books were 5 stars. The second book is just the one that I'm probably least likely to revisit. It's the one that I was least, I'll say, disturbed by. Although the untimely ending of one character did make me very sad. The first book really sucks you in immediately. When I initially read this, I did have a little moment of what is happening because all 3 books switch between third person following Pip and an epistolary format, usually first person from Pip's perspective, where she's writing her case notes or giving interviews for her podcast. And that switching between first and third person initially threw me off a little bit, but I came to really enjoy it as a change of pace and as an even more personal glimpse into Pip's thinking. Overall, I love this trilogy. I highly recommend it, especially if you're new to thrillers as I am. And it does not disappoint. And also, Pip and Ravi, endgame. Anyone who says they're not. So that's all for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new here, like and subscribe. If you're returning, thanks for sticking with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.